Hey everybody, welcome back to In Style Atlanta. Thank you so much for joining us as always. I am your host, Sky,
And
and
I'm your co-host, Merritt.
don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All you gotta do is just click that button and make sure you tell your friends to tell their friends. And hey, we can all be friends right here on InStyleAtlanta.com. And make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. That's InStyle Atlanta. Now, Mary,
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
we've got another guest coming up.
We do. And I am so excited about our guest. I feel like, I'm going to give some context for our guest. So, Sky, for us, hair as Black women it's something very deep. It's something very personal. It's our way of really expressing ourselves, right? Like we can do it big, we can do it small, we can do it short, we can do it colored. We can literally do everything that we can. Our hair is so versatile. And it's our way of expressing ourselves. But what happens when we don't know how to do our hair? And especially what happens when we don't know how to braid our hair. So this is what our guest is literally going to be talking about today. She has answered this question flawlessly. So our guest, which is Niani B, also known as Niani B, she is a Detroit-based hairstylist, and she created a digital safe haven for Black women to learn how to braid our hair without judgment for $5.
$5.
$5. So I am just so excited for us to talk about Naomi, to talk about how she got to our place, and for us to learn more about it. So Naomi, without further ado, I'm just so excited for this treat that we all have for you. Naomi, are you here? Thank you so much for joining us. We are super excited. I want to just dive right in. We already gave our viewers some of the background of your intro. And before we even hop in to talk about your class and all the wonderful things that you're doing, I want to start by just saying congratulations on all of your success. Okay, I just want to start by saying that. I saw your New York Times article, got so excited. It really struck me. It really moved me. And so much so that I actually signed up for the course myself and just started this Thursday too. So I'm excited as well. But for our interview, I would love if you can just step it back, give our viewers just an overview of you first. So I would love it if you can kick us off and tell us, how did you start your journey into doing hair?
Okay. So I'll go all the way back. When I first started doing hair, I was 12 years old and I was doing my own hair. I grew up with locks, so everybody in my family had locks. My mom gave me locks as soon as she could, so before I can remember. And as I got older and was around more kids, I no longer wanted locks. And so I convinced my parents to let me cut them off at 12. Went to the African braiding shop and decided that I did not want that to be a part of my hair care experience. And so I started really getting into styling my own hair. I had a really close friend who came over for a sleepover, and her mom gave her a book on cornrowing. And I read the book on my bathroom counter and practiced until it started to look like something. Then I started styling friends and family, and the rest is really history.
That's awesome. So let's jump into your course. And so is the exact name of the course Learn How to Braiding for Safe Space? Like, what's the exact name of your course?
So I know it's super long. It's a safe space for Black girls that never learn how to braid.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about how you came about this, and then how do we get to where we are right now? And also, like, what is the course?
Okay. So basically in a panic, like most hairstylists, I stopped working probably a week or so before the actual mandated shutdown. Schools got shut down first. I was at home with my son knowing that I could no longer go to work because I had to be a homeschool teacher. And I was like, what am I going to do? My job relies on me physically being present to make money. And so I had planned on teaching a class before, more focused on moms and their daughters' hair. And I said, why not teach the class online and open it up to everyone and not just moms and daughters? so I thought about the girl that didn't know how to braid. Like, I wanted to teach the simplest class that I could, because obviously I didn't have a whole lot of time because I'm a homeschool teacher now. And so I said, okay, we'll teach the basics and we'll gear it towards the girl that never learned how to braid. She doesn't understand the concept at all. So that's basically what the class is. You don't need any experience to join the class. We start from the very basic. There's pre-recorded content. There's live classes every week. We do a live Q&A every week so that as you're practicing, questions come up, you can come back into a live class. It's just you asking me questions. And now we have an intermediate class since we started in March. So members who have now learned how to braid, they're no longer that girl and want to move into some different styling options, they can sign up for intermediate and we teach them other things as well.
That's awesome. Sky, did you have some questions too?
Yeah, so I'm very curious. You know, I view a lot of YouTube videos. How does your course differ from just, you know, me just typing in how to braid hair?
So the main difference is that it's live. So it's me in real time with my student. So as you're getting stuck or confused, you can say, hey, I'm lost, I'm confused, I'm having issues with X, Y, and Z, and we can correct it right then and there. The other difference is I'm a hairstylist. There's not a whole lot of videos on YouTube with hairstylists. Most of them are influencers who are giving information based on how they know how to take care of their own hair and not others' hair. And, you know, being a hairstylist, I come in contact with different textures, lengths, things of that nature. So that makes it easier for me to explain from that perspective. And then also, I have a dance background. So I have a minor in dance, and I use that to teach my students. Remembering being I also worked at Alvin Ailey Extension in New York, and knowing that there are absolute beginner classes for dancers. Ailey believes that anybody could learn how to dance. And that's the same thing that I say when I'm talking about braiding. So how do we make sure that anybody can learn? We break it completely down from that first piece that needs to move and explaining where it's moving, how you're holding it, and why it's moving like that. And then building on as we continue throughout the course. And so those are the three main differences from me versus YouTube.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have another question, Sky?
Yes. So, and now you talked about the different textures, right? Because someone might have a curlier curl, someone might have a looser curl, and that when, you know, that's different whenever you're braiding. You know, like for instance, my hair may not hold a braid very long. Now, how are you able, are there different classes that are targeted towards certain hair or curl patterns? Or is it like everybody just all in and you just ask your question?
Everybody is all in and you ask your questions. Braiding different textures of hair is more so about product and not technique. And final results. What do you want your final look to be like? And if you look at Instagram or if you watch award shows or things of that nature, you know that everybody has a look that might not be a trending look. You have the organic braided look, whereas like your hair, curly, we're braiding it curly, we're not straightening it, we're not doing anything to it but creating a braid, and it kind of gets that curl pattern intertwined in the braid, and that's the look. But then you also have girls who want the sleek, shiny look. So we talk about what products to use if you want your braids to look like that. So in the beginning of the class, we go through like a breakdown of the types of products, you know, how to decide which product you should start with and what that final result is going to be like. And then we go into, because regardless of hair texture, braids are three sections of hair that we're rotating to create that final look. And learning that part, then the products come later and deciding what the look for you is going to be.
So you do product recommendations, or you just give them like the basic products? And
no, we do product recommendations. In the beginning, we had a few sponsors where we talked about, you know, different products that they offered. I curate my sponsors, so products that I use, and bringing them into class and letting students know, hey, this product is good for that, because is a hairstylist who does a whole lot of protective styling day to day. I specialize in maintaining healthy hair while wearing protective styles. I never want my clients to have to wear a protective style or have to wear extensions. I want it to be an option. I want to make sure when they take their hair down, there's hair there and it's there to stay. Go through all of that in class because a lot of that plays into the techniques that we use when braiding. Are you pulling? Is it hurting? None of those should be factors when you're getting braids. And for so long, we thought that braids meant pain and we were just willing to suffer. And I'm trying to change the narrative on that and what it looks like. And then it also goes into accepting, you know, your curl pattern, your hair types. And I tell my students all the time, I'm a type 4 girl, and I've learned to accept my curl pattern and knowing what it can do, what it can't do, and not trying to push it beyond its limits for a look and what society says it should look like. You'll notice, like, I don't have a ton of edge control on my edges, trying to force my hair to lay down. It's kinky, it's coily. That's what my edges. I'm proud that I have edges that can do that. And so just accepting that. And we talk about that a lot in class, like just loving your hair. This is what it does and be happy with it.
So are there different tiers of, and I know I feel like I'm just like asking a gazillion questions because I'm so intrigued. I'm so intrigued by this. And I have so many questions being a curly girly, but are there different tiers of your classes, or do you just register and like everyone's kind of like on this, like growing together?
So there's different tiers. So my class is a subscription. That's how I was able to keep the price so low. Right now it's $10 a month. That's for our beginner class. You join over the next 4 weeks. We learn different techniques to help us to construct the braid. And at the end of the 4 weeks, if you feel like you're ready to go into the intermediate class, you now know how to braid, you can do that. Or you can decide to stay and do the 4 weeks over again because maybe you'll pick up something else. Once we get into the intermediate class, we start learning how to braid and cut time. Then we start learning how to pair braids with other styles. So like my students this go around learn how to do braids with rope twists. We also learn how to do rod sets and how rod sets can be paired with braids, wash and goes. We've done some basic jumbo feed-in braids. So now learning how to take that basic cornrow that we learned in the beginner class, but adding in extensions to create a different style. So everybody kind of moves at their own pace. And that's the really cool thing about the subscription because it's low. Like I've never taken a class for $10 ever in all of my career, but this is low enough where you feel like you can join. You're not really losing anything. And if you are learning slower than some other students, then you can stay and not feel like you're paying like this huge fee all over again. You can learn at your own pace. Live classes are always saved. And when you're ready to move on, then you can move on.
Can you also talk about the Facebook group and like the support that other women have with each other while they're taking the class?
Absolutely. So the Facebook group is really cool because it allows everybody that's in the class to post their progress or even questions or encourage each other. And sometimes we get, you know, not off topic, but like deep into conversations about how this was more than just braiding. And I think that's been an important part because a lot of people thought that they were suffering alone or having these feelings alone of, you know, feeling less than a Black woman because they didn't know how to braid. And then now a lot of my students who have children feeling less than because they were a Black woman with a Black child that didn't know how to style their hair. And so it's been really cool to see them bond in that way. And I'll say like, you know what, I don't have to know how to braid to feel like, you know, a Black woman, but it is a cool, it's a cool skill to have to bond. And so we have pictures popping up of mothers and daughters that are learning together. We actually have a couple of preteens in the class, and that's, you know, been really cool. And even for me, because I'm not that girl, there was no YouTube or live Zoom classes or anything like that when I was 12. Social media didn't even exist. And so having to sit and read a book page for page and pick up on the skill that way, and now being able to provide a space that makes it easier for people who, you know, were like me, especially since we have 12 and 13-year-olds in the class as well, or those girls that didn't have a book when they were my age and are now, you know, 30 plus years old and trying to figure it all out. And so the Facebook community happened by, I don't want to say accident. We used to host the classes on Facebook because we were thinking, okay, small class, we can go live on Facebook every so often and teach women how to braid. And then it grew. We got picked up by the New York Times and it grew. So we've outgrown Facebook, but Facebook is still there. It still acts as this community where we check in with each other every day. I'm getting to see the different styles that women are doing on their children's hair from week to week. And it's really been like really cool just to connect with people all over the world via Facebook.
It's amazing. Sky, do you have any other questions?
No, I think it's been very, very informative. So actually I do have one last question. So it's 4 weeks. So you pay a $40 subscription fee each month?
Each month you pay a $10 subscription.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's it's 4 weeks for $10?
It's 4 weeks for $10. I know everybody's like,
yeah, that's why I was like, okay, it's $10 a week, 4 weeks, $40.
No, it is
wow.
a month, and it will stay that way as long as it can. I mean, we've grown, and I've been able to stay at $10. Again, I was thinking COVID, thinking people were going through what I was going through. Where was income going to be coming from if this was going to be a complete like global shutdown? And so I wanted to make it affordable, and I'm still able to keep it at $10 a class and save and hope that everyone continues through to intermediate. Intermediate is $19 a month, so it's just double the cost, but we learn so much more.
So what happens when, whenever, who knows when that is, but when we go back out into the real world for real and, you are back at your shop, do you still continue on with this?
Absolutely. Michigan got approval to open salons last week. Now we're in a period of possibly a second wave. We're not sure yet, but classes will continue. When we started the class, or when I started the class, I say we because now I have a team, but when we started the class, it was because, people were at home and probably scrambling, trying to figure out what to do with their hair because salons were shut down. Just like that, you couldn't go to your stylist and get your hair done. And so I said, well, I'm creating a space for women to learn how to do their own hair, right? They need to do it now. And we used to do like a screening process. Screening didn't mean you weren't going to go in, but I just really wanted to connect with my subscribers and find out why they were joining the class. And most of them were joining because they were that Black girl that never learned how to braid. That's something that they always wanted to do. And COVID didn't change that. Now they can learn and do their own hair because the salons are closed down. But prior to that, that was a skill that they just always wanted to have. And so I think we'll survive post-COVID, whatever that looks like, or whenever that is. And we're here to stay as long as everyone's here to continue to support us.
Are there any supplies involved?
Yeah, I mean, the basic class, so there aren't any supplies required because this is for the girl that never learned how to braid. So we're really working on concepts. How do I move these pieces of hair to create a braid? How do I make this a cornrow? At the very least, you can get a comb, some alligator hair clips, and we talk about that in class, and some braiding gem if you're going for that sleek look. But at the very least, a comb so you can part. And then we're really just getting into, because we don't focus heavy on parting and creating crazy designs, because if you don't know how to braid, then that's just confusing. We really want to focus on getting that traditional flat and that traditional cornrow down perfect so that now you can move into creating styles. And a lot of times that comes after naturally anyway. Now you know how to braid, you want to change it up, and so you start experimenting on your own and creating some unique styles.
Well, how can people find you? Because you are like a little hidden gem. $10 a month, you can't beat that.
No, not at all. So we're at a safe space for blackgirls.com, or you can visit nianiB.com, or of course you can find me on Instagram at Niani_B.
Thank you so much. I don't know, this has been so informative. Merritt, you have to let us know how the class is.
I will. I ended up buying a mannequin because my daughter is too little for me to braid her hair. But I will post some of my pics. My plait, let me tell you, it is looking fantastic. Okay, I am pretty proud of it.
So you've already taken a class?
Yeah, it's just started. This week was the first week of the beginner's class. I was tuned in on Thursday. So I suggest that anyone who is interested, please, this is my own personal, like it was great. It is really helpful. Niani, right? Niani. I don't know why I keep saying nay, it's N-I, but Niani. Thank you so much for joining us. Also, thank you so much for creating this space, because it truly is. I never knew how to braid. I have a daughter, so now I'm feeling very excited and supported that I'll be able to do her hair. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Niani. We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. That was so informative. There you go. $10. I mean, Merritt, you can't beat that.
Cannot beat that. And it is from a like real professional who is a professional hairstylist, not the YouTube influencer.
Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. As always, we appreciate you because we know that you could be anywhere, but you decided to kick it here with us on InStyle Atlanta. So don't forget, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, InStyle Atlanta. Follow us on all our social media platforms. InStyle Atlanta, you know what it is. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And let's all be friends, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys back here again. Bye.
Bye.